Welcome back to episode 12 of AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, Season 2. Before we hop into today's episode, I was looking over some stats before starting recording, and I found something very interesting that I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. So, if we go to who won it all last year. So I'm trying to think of the easiest way to show this. Does it show in here? Now, blah, blah, blah. Well, long story short, the team that won last year, because I'm not exactly sure the easiest place to show you, was the... Show in here? No, this doesn't... Okay. It will show in there after I click on season. It was Green Bay. So one thing I didn't notice when I was looking here is if we look at Green Bay's roster, to look at who their quarterback is. It's Bart Hines. It's the quarterback that we moved on from. He ended up getting a bowl ring last season with Green Bay. And if you look here, he had a very decent overall season. You can see that his touchdown ratio was much better. He put up more 300-yard passing games. He had a great rating. And then look at him in the playoffs. They played 4 games. He had basically 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and almost a 95 passer rating. He's gone off. Well, he went off last year. And it's interesting because after I realized this, I was like, okay, let me look at Green Bay's roster and see if there's like something obvious that made him just do so much better. And looking at it, I really can't tell what the hell it is. His main targets are all rookies. His running backs are rookie. 2 of his 3 starting wide receivers are rookies. And in case you're like, oh, there's probably something else down here, there really isn't. The center down here is really good. The tight end is pretty decent. 2 bench wide receivers. They did have this wide receiver who put up 780 yards, so he's not a slouch by any means, but definitely not a all-star. And then they do have 2 injured guys on defense that are kind of superstars. But looking at the team, I'm really surprised that he popped off as well as he did last year. And it's going to be interesting. I want to keep tracking him because I think it's a learning thing. Because I feel like if he ended up winning a Super Bowl with this lineup, that if we look at our lineup, and we have a couple players down here that are not showing, our top wide receiver, our top running back, and things like that. I just feel like he should have been able to have as good of a season with the kind of team that we had surrounding him. That being said, didn't happen. We can't look in the past. So, in case you missed the last episode, we drafted, hopefully, our quarterback of the future in Devin Holmberg. He played most of the season and put up a respectable rookie campaign. In the games that he played, he went 6-6 with 2 comeback wins in the 4th. So, only thing to really note from that is that I'm pretty confident we do not have a first round pick this year. And it looks like we went into the negative in terms of room, or in terms of cap space last year, which I don't know what the cutoff is, but I know that if this number is negative and if it's too high negative, that you lose draft picks. But I don't know what that cutoff is. So, based on what I know, I think we're losing a draft pick because of this, but we'll find out here shortly. So let's go ahead, get into our season. All right. Now, we made a number of coaching adjustments last season. So I say this probably every single season, but I'm not planning to make significant changes here, but we will see when it gets to us. There is one guy that's considered a little bit of a better option. but let's keep things where they're at in order to try to give our rookie quarterback kind of a good baseline to work with. Same kind of situation here. Like, it looks like there are some options here that might be a little bit better for us. Not significantly. The top guy's only like 3 points higher. But I think it's going to be important for us to try to give our quarterback a good kind of solid foundation to really get started here. I don't want to be one of those coaches or one of those GMs that gives him 3 offensive coordinators over his first season or his first 3 seasons and things like that. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep this kind of as is. All right, we're going to skip. The other thing is that our guy is a primary QB, which should help with our quarterback's development a little bit. All right, we still have top defensive. I'm trying to remember, is this the same guy that we've had? No, we've had him most of our time together, though. But our defense has always been pretty stacked, so that's cool. One thing that is worth noting, okay, it looks like our assistant coach may have been upgraded somewhere else. So that's actually really nice because I think both of our better wide receivers are both getting a little bit older now. Rides actually, okay. Rides had a number of good seasons with us. It looks like he is going to free agency, and based on his past 2 years, it's probably a okay thing. But we do still have Jalen here, who should kind of hold down our receiving core at least a little bit as our wide receiver 1. And then it looks like we have Kim Hickman, who we got in free agency, but this guy was a first-round draft pick. So, big thing that I was going to note, though, Clayton Parker, I think it was. Yeah. Even though this guy's not the best, receiving tight end, his bars are, honestly, I would say average for a receiving tight end, he's getting a crap ton of work. He was targeted over 100 times both the past 2 seasons. He was targeted 137 times last season. That might mean if there is a tight end available that is an upgrade to this guy, that might be something that our quarterback would really like. So something I'm going to keep an eye out for. Back to this, though. We're probably going to need to get a young wide receiver soon, so let's just go ahead and take the top guy here. Thing to note, his scouting and interviewing are not high, so be a little bit of a mixed bag on that front. All right. Before we begin free agency, we have about $90 million to work with. What? Did we lose anyone? One of our guards did retire. He actually he didn't start a lot, but when he was in, he had actually done really well for us the past 2 seasons. But okay. Doesn't seem like we lost anybody too key. And before we begin free agency, let's do a quick look-see here. Okay. I think that we're actually going to be okay money-wise. We might be able to pull in 1 or 2 in free agency since we do not have a first-round pick. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Let me just make sure. Yeah, there's nobody worth franchising. Okay. So here's the big question. Where the heck is our first draft pick? Okay, we don't have a first, but we do have 2 early seconds, and it does not look like we lost a draft pick, so that's actually pretty big. Okay. And unfortunately, of course, it's now it's a draft where we don't need to go quarterback, and there's a number of options. So if we had a bad season last year, we would clearly have an option of one of these guys, but it's not our situation. So we'll figure that out in a minute. All right. Starts out with us going for our own team. So let's go through that process. Really nice center here. Definitely want to keep this guy around. He's also our offensive line leader. Let's make sure real quick. Do we have any? We do have some conflicts. Okay, let's figure these out real quick. All right, this guy has an extreme conflict with Donnie, and Donnie is a very good defensive player for us. So we're going to need to see what we can do with that. That guy's off the team. Wow, a lot of these guys have problems with Donnie for some reason. Donnie still have a good season last year? He was definitely down last year, but he is still a very decent player. And I think he's 2 seasons out. Or no, I guess it was not last episode, but the episode before. I think he got Defensive Player of the Year. So he's a guy that I definitely want to continue kind of building around, which means we might be shipping a couple of these guys in trades here. All right. Let's actually do that now. That way we have a better idea of what we need. So Charlie Wyrick, this guy's actually done very well the past couple of seasons. So let's start out with seeing what if any team's even interested. Charlie Wyrick. No general manager expressed interest. That's very interesting to me because I don't think that's that big of a, let's see. It's on the blue book. There we are here. So for an inside linebacker, yeah, I mean, he's not commanding that much of a money situation. Okay. Let's see. Say both of these guys, all 3 of these guys, I feel like are actually decent players. These 2 haven't started much. Those numbers, though, for a guy that's only started 6 games, 30 tackles for an inside nose tackle, that is a pretty nice set of stats. I wonder if maybe we should look at what we can get for Pasco, to be honest, because he's getting up there in age. He was definitely down a little bit this past season. It looks like he got injured, though, so it's a little bit of a wash. But I definitely don't want to go into the season with this many conflicts listed. So let's see if any team would be interested in Donnie, and we can probably get at least a 2nd round pick for him. That might be a little bit, based on how old he is, I don't know if a team's actually going to pay that. But let's just take quick looks here. Okay, nobody's interested in him either. Okay, that makes things a little bit harder. We'll get back to that. All right, center, negotiate. Asking to be a top 10, perfectly fine with me. That's a great set of bars for a center. All right, this guy does have a conflict going on. He's not asking for almost anything, though, so I'm going to bring him forward. I wonder if a team will show interest in Pasco as we move closer in here. This guy put up a crazy season last year, so he might be asking for a lot. No, not bad at all. He's asking for less than a top 20. So welcome aboard on your longer contract. Now, I feel like if we get rid of Pasco, we definitely have to keep this guy around. Because they are kind of 2 of our... Although we do have Courtney Brody up there. And both of them are Okay. All right. Let's not re-sign him since he has the extreme conflict, and we might still look at getting rid of him because we have Courtney Brody up here who should be filling that starting role anyway. All right. This guy hasn't done great, but he's done decently, and he's not asking for much, so we'll go ahead and extend that. Our punter has notoriously been very good. Let's see. Compared to, when was the last time he went? First team in 78. Okay, he's still putting up very similar numbers, so we'll go ahead and negotiate him. He might retire after this season as well. Wow, we're going to have a ton of contracts coming up next season. We might want to deal with a couple of these now. Backup center, go ahead and extend him. He's kind of a project anyway. What do this guy's numbers look like? That's actually pretty decent for a corner, and he's not asking for much, so yep, we'll extend him. And, okay. I think, though, I'm going to see if we can restructure a couple of these guys. Let's look at this. 20 million. It's going to be a... Okay, so that's going to extend him a little bit. And for a guard, he's still looking at basically being a top 10, which, based on his bars and stats, is A-okay with me. Let's see, this guy had a down year, so let's see if he'll restructure nicely for us. Ooh, that looks like a really good team deal from a first look-see here. 20, that's 43, coming down to 28. Yeah, this is a really good deal for us. So he will hopefully continue being our wide receiver 1 for a couple of seasons here. And then I just want to look at 1 or 2 more of these guys on 2 years just to try to not have next season be crazy. We'll extend our fullback. Wayne Lee will probably retire after this season. Let's see, this nose tackle. Yep, this is going to be a team deal. Only catch with this is I don't know how much this guy's going to really play in 3 and 4 seasons. Because he'll be 30 basically at the end of this season. He's put up pretty decent sack numbers throughout his career. Decent hurries. He's definitely a couple of seasons away from where I would say he maxed out, so let's not extend that far out. Okay. All right, we at least dealt with 2 of those contracts, so that's big. Still trying to figure out what the heck to do with all of these conflict situations, though. I know I just re-signed this guy. He's only a mild conflict. I'm much more worried about this extreme conflict. Alright, we'll keep him and see about trading as free agency goes on. Alright, let's see what kind of players are in free agency this season. Alright, we have what looks like he could be the best tackle in the league. A good corner, good inside linebacker. Actually, 2 good inside linebackers. A good safety. I know Wayne Lee is getting up there in age. We have Sebastian Slaughter. And then we have Alexis Brady, who's also supposed to be pretty decent. So at least for this season, we should be okay at safety unless we get hit with a number of injuries. Our cornerback situation, we have Vince Collins, and then we have these two guys who are not great, but they're still probably starter caliber. Our linebackers are all starter caliber. Defensive line's all starter. What we really need is, we do really need linemen. That's our biggest thing. So that brings us to top prospect here. And yeah, I mean, from what I can tell from kind of blocking stats, these look really, really good. Okay, he's never made Pro Bowl. He's still going to probably command highest salary at tackle, though, which right now is $32 million. Let's see what he's asking for. Okay, at least based on what he's asking for, he's not asking to shatter records. The other big thing for me is I want to make sure that we have a good offensive line so our young quarterback doesn't get like an ACL tear or, some other. Try to make it so that he's not getting injured. I guess that's the easiest way to word that. I highly think he's going to go for more than what we see here. So I am going to give him a big offer. But I think this is definitely a position that we need to make sure gets shored up for our team. So that's going to be a 4-year, $170 million. I think there's a solid chance he goes for more than this. Only good thing is that if he ends up going for way more, that will give us a baseline. It looks like there are a number of other tackles that are going to be available. So okay. We have two people that aren't happy about that. Covington and Newhart. Who are they? Covington is our starting right guard. And then Newhart's our long snapper. Okay. That's probably going to end up creating more conflicts on our team, which I'm not happy about. Covington actually had a pretty decent season last season. He's actually had a number of good seasons, to be honest. I know his bars aren't all that. That is making me double check my thoughts on that. Like this guy, I mean, this dude put up bringing 12 sacks allowed. That's not what I want. This guy's done decently, but definitely not as good as this guy. I think we have to bring this guy in, if possible. And then we'll figure out the fallout after the fact. All right, we're going with that offer. As I mentioned, I think that he might go for significantly more than that. And then we can base future deals on this. So here we go. So I offered 4-year, 170. He signed with us. Okay. I'm actually pumped about this. Let's just see here. So that just did introduce a strong conflict. Okay. We'll deal with this before draft. Let's look here at what else we can potentially have. We have a really good running back. He's getting up there in age, but This guy's only 25, so he would have at least... Oh, he's recovering from something, though. That's MCL. Okay, yeah, I don't want to give him an offer based on a 6th score if he's coming off of an MCL. We could look if there's a right tackle to bring in. Like, this guy was the guy that I said looked decent earlier. So we could potentially put him in. He definitely looks better than that and that. Yeah, let's go ahead and give this guy another offer. See if we can kind of shore up our offensive line here. All right. I think he goes next round, so we'll see here. Did he sign with us? He did. Okay. All right. We're going to save some money for post free agency or late free agency. Before we do this, let's see if we can figure out if any team is now interested in these trade deals. So, got a lot going on this offseason. All right. Is any team now interested in Warwick? Still no team interested. And then Covington is the other guy. Okay. All right. I'm trying to think if... Do we just cut them? We'll keep them on for now. All right. So come draft time, game says, I'm sure it says we need defensive tackle. Yep. Okay. So it says quarterback, defensive tackle. We should be okay on quarterback. We have the young guy that we want starting. Defensive tackle is something I don't feel like we need. I always say that. The game always says it's something that we need, it seems. I mean, we have 4 defensive ends that are like near the top of our team. We have 2 defensive tackles that are both above 55, with one of them being a 70. Then we have another guy down here that's a 45. Okay. I mean, I don't feel like it's something that we need. Maybe we'll target it at some point, though. I think guard is going to be something that we need, since the one guard position is going to be something that we're probably going to cut. So let's look at best guards here. That right there would be a very nice guard. I don't think he'll last to round 2. Yeah, I think a team will definitely get him. So we'll keep going down the list here. It's decent. Oops, don't want the same guy. Nope. I'm marking this blue. I feel like, especially with a guy this young, he should... Here you can see he's better at left guard, but he could potentially transition. We'll mark him. Not as a second round pick, but at least as a... There are actually 2 really decent ones. I don't want to spend all of my interviews on this either, though. Okay. All right, we have 2 marked. That could be... I feel like if either of these fall to the first, second round pick, we'll go one of them. These will probably be like 3rd round picks. We'll see how that all falls into place, though. Let's look at it this way for a minute. Getting a young wide receiver, I think, couldn't hurt us. I mentioned earlier getting a nice receiving tight end could be a good option for us. So something like that would potentially be an upgrade. And let's also look at this guy. Yeah, so 2 very decent tight end options if either fall to us. there's a number of corners, which means somebody like this could potentially fall. I'm basically trying to find 2 good picks for those 2 second rounders we have. Okay. That's actually a very solid looking running back. And we're going to need a guy to split reps with Herb Carpenter here. I mean, this guy's bars are all crazy, but he's definitely a split back guy. His endurance is about a 50. So pulling in somebody like this could potentially help us out. They're very overrated, though. Now let's find one other guy to interview here. This is 3rd wide receiver on the board. Yeah, so 3rd wide receiver could definitely fall to us. Very overrated. All right. I feel like this was kind of just like kind of a little bit of a guessing game, to be honest. But we'll figure out how this plays out. All right. Before we do this, I'm offering it one more time. Anybody interested in Wyrick? Nope. And anybody interested in Covington? No. All right. Fair enough. Just wanted to double check. So let's see who the first couple teams go here. There are a number of great defensive linemen and quarterbacks on the board, so I'm sure that's going to be really heavy in these first couple of picks. Defensive tackle goes off the board first. There goes top quarterback. Going to Cincinnati. Houston is going to be going quarterback. Minnesota, also quarterback. And Chicago. Let's see if this is a 4 quarterbacks in the top 5. It is. So quarterback heavy draft. It will be interesting to see where that next quarterback ends up going. I'm sure that he'll fall a little bit, so go ahead and speed things on up here. All right, so here we are with our pick. Good and bad news here. Let me just look at something real quick. 1. Both tight ends went somewhat early. It's a crazy thing, right? I mentioned that the top of the board was really like defensive front and quarterback heavy. This defensive end is, I'm pretty confident, the second defensive end that was on the board at the start of the draft. And he is still sitting here. The other thing about him is that he falls directly in to the defensive scheme that we run. Defensive end is not something that we specifically need. We already have 3 really decent young defensive ends, and we also have this guy who's not that old himself. But I feel like that could open us up to keeping them on low contracts or giving us some different trade opportunities. I feel like with a player like this, especially with where we're at in terms of the pick, I feel like we can't pass him. The same goes with somebody like this. Like, this guy also looks really, really decent. But this guy fits our defensive scheme. This guy also would down here, but his bars don't look as nice. So taking him. All right. And then it looks like our guard is still available. Not the top guard on the draft, but the second guard that we did mark as of interest. So we'll go ahead and select him. We're back on the board, and we do have two of the guards that we also marked. Let's see if anybody else that we marked fell here. Does not look like it. No. So the two guards are kind of our next options. And I'm going to look through some of these picks, though, because like that looks like a pretty decent third down back. I'm going to mark him. That's a very enticing back, too. Okay. Not as enticing, but still not bad. The three bars that I care most about for a nose tackle, that guy fits the bill. Let's real quick, before we make this pick, do any of our rookies show in here yet? All right, that defensive end we selected is potentially getting up to a 69. That guard is potentially getting to a 63. So those look like they were two decent picks. That all obviously changes as we go, but it looks so far like two decent picks to start things off. And our next pick is basically a 32. Okay, so if we're going one of these guys, we have to get them now. Does look like there's a pretty decent drop off after those two running backs. We don't need a center. Okay. That guy actually doesn't look half bad. I'm going to mark him as a potential late pickup. Not a big fan of that guy's bars. Let's take a look at one or two of these wide receivers. All right, so decent at getting downfield, really good at route running, decent at third down catching, adjusting the ball. Not bad, but I don't think that he's worth the pick here. Insanely good at man-to-man coverage. His other bars aren't terrible. Mark him. Not as a pick right now, but potentially next round. Okay. We'll look at these three wideouts and then pick. That's a pretty interesting wide receiver in my opinion. I'm going to mark him. And we have Quinn here. Isn't bad. He's a little bit of a bigger wide receiver, but I think I'm more interested in this guy. I don't know. Maybe I will mark this guy too. Okay. So coming back up, I think we have to go one of these running backs in order to split carries with our main guy in Herb Carpenter. I think this guy makes a little bit more sense. He's higher in third down running, and then he has the passing back abilities. So this is getting my nod here. All right, we're back. That nose tackle I mentioned is still available. Game says that we need a defensive tackle. As I've mentioned before, I don't feel like it's something that we specifically really need. But think that's going to be a better pick than pulling in this corner or this backup quarterback. So, okay. I'll play into the game's wants here. All right, quarterback is still sitting there. The other guys we looked at are all gone. What is our backup quarterback situation? I think our current backup is not good, if I remember correctly. He did not play well. I think it's Ty Lindquist here. Yeah, he stepped in for a couple of games, 4 TDs to 9 interceptions, so he is not looking too promising. This guy basically has never played. So let's try Jimmy Rubio here. He's only 1% developed, so definitely a guy's going to need to ride the bench for a couple of years. But main goal is for having him as a backup. So, all right, is there any position that we specifically need to fill? I think that's, we need kicker, and we need tight end, and an additional corner or safety. Right now, the top guy that I have, he can do anything really, but he's really good at zone, which means we might fit well with this guy, although I really hate his man-to-man. I feel like as a corner you need some man-to-man ability. So that guy is of interest. I think that is probably who I'll target, but I think I might be able to get him next run there. This guy's strength is out of this world, but his bars are not that interesting. Doesn't look like any of these guys are really going to be a better pickup than the guy we already have in terms of receiving ability. So let's look at this guy again. His bars for blocking are, give or take around 50%. His strength, though, is nuts. So let's give him a shot. He could come in as our blocking tight end with a little bit of extra abilities. That corner did end up going. Dang it. Alright, in that case, I might just go top remaining, to be honest. We could try drafting a kicker. We did this in the very first, I think it was the very first episode or the second ever episode of AyyScare Plays for Us Football 8, and it actually worked out great for us. I don't remember what his bars looked like. You know what? Let's just give him a shot. We'll see. No idea if that's going to pan out, but that's the game plan. Alright, so let's take a quick look at how those rookies are scoring. Defensive end we knew about. Guard we knew about. Nose tackle is up here. Kicker doesn't look great, but he looks okay. Running back, now, reminder, he's going to be kind of our RB2, so that looks okay. Backup quarterback, right now he's horrible, but looks like he could be decent. Tight end, again, he's coming in as our blocking tight end, so I don't particularly mind that he's rated this low. So, alright. I feel like that draft overall went pretty well, especially since we did not have a first round pick. Now that that is done, now the big question becomes once again, did we add any more conflicts? Doesn't look like it. We need to either cut these guys now or trade them, though. So we're checking this one final time, and then we'll go from there. Warwick. Nobody's interested in the guy. I think we're going to end up cutting him. And then the other guy is Covington up here. No interest. Okay. They're both being cut. So I feel bad cutting this guy because this guy had a good season, but I cannot go into the season with an extreme conflict. It's just, I'm too scared about what that's going to do to the team. So we're releasing him. And then this guy has a strong conflict. We brought in the rookie to hopefully take over this situation. So those are gone. We do have a couple small conflicts, but none of them are above a mild. So I'm going to leave those as is. All right. After that, we do need to pull in another linebacker or two and something for our secondary. We have some money, though, which is nice because that's not something that we've had too often in late free agency. I think there is another kicker here. He didn't play all that well. His kicking overall is very good, but his kickoff is horrible. So I'm actually going to leave him up. This could be our future punter. But I don't feel like that's something that we specifically need, so we'll rest on that. Middle linebacker slips to the draft. Normally here I should fit well if he gain. Okay. He could definitely gain some starting experience. I don't know starting, but he'll definitely get some snaps. I think that's probably a better way to word that. We'll bring in another defensive lineman. Our defensive front is going to be absolutely stacked this season. Let's see. There are a couple of kind of venture tight ends here. Like this guy could potentially be another. Ooh, he's asking for quite a bit though. I liked this guy's blocking bars. He's also asking for quite a bit. Let's think about this real quick. Neither are asking for top 20 pay. This guy's been pretty good and pretty solid at getting like 500 yards. Blocking. Despite his bars, it doesn't look like he's gotten that many blocking opportunities. Okay, I'm going to let those guys all sit. All right, we got ourselves another linebacker here. Another young linebacker. I don't mind bringing these guys in on 1-year deals because worst comes to worst, we had the extra capital. Best comes to best, they end up working out and we get to keep them around. This is a very enticing rookie tight end for receiving purposes. So we'll give him a 1-year deal. I feel like we have enough linebackers at this point. Pulling in another young, or not young, but another option at wide receiver is not a bad idea. What are the sizes of our two guys right now? Our main two, at least. So Jalen here, he's 6'1", 207. And then Kim is 6. Okay, so they're both pretty big wide receivers. And this guy is pretty decent size himself. Okay. So, bringing in somebody like this isn't a terrible option. He's not asking for all that much either. So, give him a little bit extra on the signing bonus. And then we need somebody for our secondary. I know our secondary is still missing at least one slot. This guy's actually coming off of a pretty decent season. And it looks like he's kind of an adventure guy, but like when he goes in, he actually does really well in pass defendant rates. and he puts up decent interception numbers. Let's give this guy a option. All right. Go through like 2 rounds here, see how many sign with us. Looks like we landed the inside defensive tackle there and one of the rookie middle linebackers. Landed the other inside linebacker, the tight end, and the other middle linebacker. All right. And then big question for me is these 2 remaining. If we land both of those, I need to double check, but I think that will basically clear up if we got both of them. So that's awesome. Yeah, there's nothing else specifically that we need. So we'll go into the season with a little bit of extra cash this time. All right, we got a training camp. Simulate our exhibition games. Then see how this pans out. All right, week 1. We are mega favorites against Kansas City. So we'll see how this goes. All right, we took it 27-14. Let's take a quick look at what our starting lineup looks like. All right, a couple of notes. Devin Holmberg, future estimate went up, and this season he's now listed as a 53, which means most teams would probably have him as a starter at this point, which is a very good sign. Our offensive line is looking really nice. The rookie guard is definitely going to be a little bit of a weak spot, but he's at least looking like he's going to get really good. So it's not like we're throwing in just like a crappy player. I guess the best way to word that one. Okay. And then our defense overall looks pretty good. Look at how many players we have to fill in on our defensive front. It's ridiculous. Herb Carpenter is dealing with an injury, but he should be back. Doesn't look like we have anybody on IR, so that's good. Okay. All right, Philadelphia beat us. We beat Houston. And then this is our bye week, so it's probably going to be here where we get Herb Carpenter back and starting running back. Let's look at our stats real quick. Is Herb Carpenter back? Okay, let's say he's back. He's just not showing up at the top here. And so far we don't have any key player on IR. So this is looking like a pretty decent start. Let's look at our actual team summary through the 3 games. Okay. Through 3 games, looks like our running is struggling a little bit. However, Herb Carpenter has only had 7 runs, and he was averaging almost 7 yards a carry. And on 7 runs, he also had 2 touchdowns. So getting him back is going to be huge. So yeah. All right, let's sim a couple more weeks here. We took the W there. We're up against Pittsburgh. Took the W. And we're up against Baltimore, who looks like they're one of the better teams in the league. So let's... wait a second. Is this the week? No, we should have one more week to do trades. Okay. Oh, our defense held Baltimore to 0. Let's go. Let's go, team. All right, so let's take a look here. Herb Carpenter, balling out. Our quarterback is not doing fantastically, but hey, we're 5-1, so I'm not complaining. Our defense, if you look at the defensive numbers here in terms of our ranks, we knew that our defense was looking good. So, like, this is about as good as you can hope for from a defense so far. So, it looks like this is going to basically boil down to, can our quarterback start getting a little bit more, pass heavy, or not pass heavy, but a little bit better on the passing game. Let's make sure we didn't get anybody lost to IR real quick. Doesn't look like it. And there are some conflicts coming up again. It looks like these are all with Donnie Pasco again. Donnie Pasco must have something that other players hate. How's he doing this year? He's putting up good numbers so far, so I can't really complain. All right. Trying to decide if I want to try getting a wide receiver mid-season to try to help boost it. I'm not sure that, if I was going to try this, let me mess with this here for a second. I would probably be looking at a bad team that would be looking to, better their draft situation next year. So, a team like Cincinnati is sitting at 0-6. Kansas City sitting at 1-5. Cincinnati. So, like, they have this older wide receiver right here. He has a sprained thumb. Like, this could be a guy that we could bring in and potentially, like, have a good run with. I'm always iffy about bringing in guys like this mid-season. Also, his contract is nuts. I don't want to bring on that contract, actually. Somebody like this, though, on their team, he was a first-round draft pick. He just re-signed a pretty big deal, though. I forget if I can leave this open or not. I forget if this is I think this one disappears. Yeah, man, Cincinnati is paying their guys nicely. Kansas City was the other team that we might be able to take one of their guys. None of them look that great, though. I don't think that's going to be worth it. We'll also take a quick look. There are a number of 2 and 5 teams here. Let's see. A team within our division is probably not going to trade with us. So let's take a quick look at Atlanta and Dallas. Atlanta. Keith Rome. How much are they paying this dude? Gosh, man. Yeah, I don't know if his eyes skimp out on the wide receiver contracts, but all of these contracts for their, like, quasi-decent players is absolutely nuts. Why is this guy not playing? This guy's only played 2 games this season. Why? They're not going to get rid of him anyway. He was their 3rd overall pick 1 season ago. Okay. What I was hoping for is that we were going to get to one of these teams and all 3 of their wideouts were going to be like 50 pluses, but does not look like that's the case. So we're going to have to try to run table with what we got. See how this goes. Took the L there, going up against Cincinnati. We beat them. We're at 6-2. Kansas City, so 2 of the teams that we looked at, we beat them. Las Vegas, we beat them. And just as a quick note, we're putting up some pretty high points. more than we might have had throughout other seasons completely. Let's see, we lost one of our starting corners to IR. Herb Carpenter. Okay, let's take a quick look at the team summary. All right, our passing is picking up a little bit. Our defense is still holding pretty strong, to be honest. Our running game is still going well. Herb Carpenter is at 131 attempts, averaging still over 5 yards a carry. That's awesome. Yeah, all right, let's keep it running. Let's go. Beat New York. We're going up against Buffalo. Sitting at 10-2. Let's keep it going. Monday night game against Washington. We took the W there. Going up against California, so another good team here. Short week for us. They did take the W from us there. Let's make sure real quick that we didn't face any major injuries. Broken finger, but he should be back. And yeah, I think that we're overall okay. We're a couple players down here, but our defensive front is so deep that I think we're okay. All right. Took the W against Dallas. Here we are against Las Vegas again. And Las Vegas is 10-5, so they're no slouch of a team. So let's see how this ends our season here. They beat us, but not by much. All right. So we ended 12-4, which, unless something crazy happens here, that means we should at least make playoffs, if not have a first round bye. As a quick reminder, this game works in the 12 teams make playoffs, not the new 14 teams make playoffs. So 4 teams should have byes. Yep, listen, we got in, and we have a bye, which is hopefully going to work in our favor. Just seeing what we're dealing with here. We have 2 sprained knees that are not going to be ready. Yeah, unfortunately, all 3 of these injuries, 4 injuries, have a full strength in 3 weeks, meaning we'll probably end up playing these guys, but they're not going to be at their best. All right, we still only lost 1 key player to. I know we lost this guy to IR too. I don't know exactly what the difference is. I guess maybe green means that they might have potential to come back this season. I don't know what the difference is between the green and the orange. Orange typically means that like they're majorly hurt, and you'll see the plus is also bigger. I guess these guys could potentially come back, is what I guess it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like this guy, we're probably not getting back this year, but all right. I think we're going into playoffs with a very decent looking team. Very few injuries. So let's see, wild card. We got to buy through. I'm trying to remember. I think that we beat Baltimore earlier in the year, but here we go. All right, we got a field goal. Man, very low scoring first half. 3-3 in the first half. We will see how this pans out. All right, going into the fourth, we're up by 2 touchdowns. I mean, just look at how our defense is holding Baltimore. Baltimore's at 32. The game's basically over. They're at 32 rushing yards, 85 passing, 3 turnovers. They've had 6 first downs all game. I mean, our defense is holding this game tight. And that is how we roll into the next round of the playoffs. All right, we're in the conference finals going up against Indianapolis. Let's see how this rolls. All right, we started out by getting the field goal. We got a touchdown on us. All right. Going into the second half, we are up 17-13. Let's keep this thing rolling. All right, let's slow this thing down for a second here. So they are at 3rd and 10. They're down by a touchdown with 7 minutes left. All right, they're going to have to punt. All right. This game is definitely not over. We should definitely be trying to, at least I would probably be trying to do some running plays, milk this clock down a little bit. Catch the backside to that, though. Ooh, they got a flag. That's a huge flag for them. 33 yards. Let's go. We're in red zone. Carpenter goes for 13 yards. Come on. Let's give it to Carpenter, man. Touchdown. All right, unless something crazy happens. Let's freaking go. All right. Offensive holding. Pass wasn't completed. Okay. Slaughter, man. Bat the ball down. Let's roll. All right. Game, baby. That's game. They have 3 timeouts, but, I mean, if they end up coming back here, that would be the most ridiculous end to a game ever. Looking over here, Holmberg's our young quarterback here, put up 336 passing yards. Jalen was our top receiver. Cool, yep, we kicked a field goal. They're out of timeouts. Technically, it's still a 2-possession game, so there, could be some craziness here, but they got a good play and then it got called back on a hold or something. I didn't have time to read what it was for. This right here should be game. Yep. Our ball. They have no timeouts. That's it, baby. We've made it into the ball game. Let's freaking go. Let's go. Who are we playing against? Carolina. All right. Let's go. Championship game. Let's just make 100% sure. We did lose a couple more players to IR, but our main core is still here. Let's roll. Come on. All right. Carolina takes the touchdown to start things off. We get a field goal. Get another touchdown on us. They're up 2 touchdowns. All right. Come on, guys. Let's bring this thing home. Let's do this thing. Oh, I don't think this is going to be something we can come back from, but nope. Yeah, it looks like there was a pick 6 thrown. Dang, man. All right. Good news is that now I can't remember if we made a championship game before or not, but that was really close. We have the team to do this thing. Okay. Next couple of episodes should be bangers. Oh, man. I'm so disappointed we didn't get it there. Let's save real quick. Take a quick look at our team summary before we close things out. All right. Couple of notes. Holmberg, even though he is definitely getting better, he didn't have a baller season. Herb Carpenter definitely started falling off a little bit down the stretch, but I mean, he still finished the very, very respectable ground game. He also had 428 yards on the ground, through the air. You can see the accuracy problems. Like Jalen here, 151 targets, only 80 catches on that. 5 of those were drops, but still, that's accuracy thing. And our defense, just look at all of these stats that our defense was either one or top 3 or top 5, top 10 in. We were number 1 in holding completion percentage low, holding passing yards low, holding yards per attempt low, yards per catch low, total yardage gained. We were the top team in the league in terms of limiting that. So I mean, let's not lie. Our defense really hand clap to them. Looking over the stats here, though, I think Herb Carpenter could potentially go, probably not for first team, but probably second team running back. Defensively, we have a number of players here, like Pasco, I think, again, could be on that list. 70 tackles, 26 assists, 8 sacks, 10 hurries, 12 defended passes, really high pass defended rating. Lorenz here, 8.5 sacks with 21 hurries. And then we got Middleton, who also went for 8 sacks, 18 hurries. And then also Brody up here went for 106 tackles. And I mean, overall, just a very respectable plan. So let's see if any of these teams made it. Let's see if anybody made it. Let's see. I think it's under awards, season awards. All right. Doesn't look like we had anybody make first team. That's second team. Pasco did make second team with his 70 tackles, 26 attempts, blah, 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 that I just mentioned earlier. So again, I realized he brings something where players around him are not huge fans of him, but I feel like he's somebody that we cannot lose on our team right now. Just out of curiosity, who got... Okay, let me take a quick look since we talked about it at the beginning. How did Bart Hines do this year? Hey, you know what? I don't know what their record was, but Bart Hines put up another very respectable season for Green Bay. Let's see where they actually finished, but that looked like a pretty respectable season to me. Where's Green Bay on here? They went 6-10. Okay, so not as good as I thought his numbers looked just on the sheet there. But you guys know what? This was a crazy episode. I'm looking really forward to what the next couple of episodes have in store. Hope to see you guys on the next episode. Till then, AyyScare out.